Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this 13 Plus FastCast. I am Ashley Bowerman. We begin with some late-breaking news. The Associated Press is reporting that ex-police officer Derek Chauvin, convicted of killing George Floyd, was stabbed at a federal prison on Wilmot Road in Tucson this afternoon. Now, the Bureau of Prisons, who we reached out to, declined to identify the name of this inmate, but they did tell us that an inmate received life-saving measures from responding employees and EMS today when we reached out about an assault at the prison. That inmate, we do know, was taken to a local hospital for treatment and evaluation. No prison employees were injured. The FBI has been notified. Again, the Associated Press is reporting that ex-police officer Derek Chauvin, convicted of killing George Floyd, was stabbed at the federal prison on Wilmot Road in Tucson this afternoon. We are working to get more details about this. We are reaching out to authorities about this situation. Stay with 13 News for updates. Well, also happening right now, both sides of Interstate 10 are closed near Benson due to a crash. This is all happening at milepost 304. DPS is calling this a fatal collision. They are not saying how many people have died as a result of this crash, but we do know that there are a lot of backups on Interstate 10 near milepost 304 in Benson. We also don't know how soon the traffic will let up in that area, but be sure to stay safe, and we'll keep you posted as we learn more. Well, one Tucson neighborhood is keeping up a decades-long tradition. Today, dozens of Sugar Hills residents gathered at Mansfield Park for their annual Thanksgiving event, filled with music, good food, and good company. Organizers say it all started when people in the neighborhood wouldn't know someone was in town during the holidays until they had already left, so they created this event to help folks get together. Now, all year long, they raise money for this event, providing live entertainment and, of course, delicious food for that event. Well, after a couple of seasons to forget for the Arizona Wildcats football team, this year is one to remember. It's the Cats' best season in nearly a decade, and the perfect cherry on top would be a Territorial Cup win over rival ASU. Houses will be divided tomorrow afternoon. The game kicks off at 1:30 in the afternoon in Tempe. If the Wildcats win and Oregon gets upset by Oregon State, the Cats will face Washington in the final Pac-12 championship. A lot riding on this game. We know, like I said, houses are going to be divided tomorrow for sure. So
I'll tell you what, Arizona has got an incredible squad this year. We're really pulling for Oregon State. That'd be something, the Pac-12 championship after, the last few years not result that many Wildcat fans wanted this year. Pretty cool stuff. But I'm rambling about sports. Let me go now into weather. How about how windy it was today? Windy day, right?
If you were putting up decorations, good luck, because it was just too windy for that today.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the broadcast, probably more of an indoor decorating day with those winds. I mean, let's just take a look right now around Arizona, how windy it was. The top wind gusts, you can see where those two maximums are. To our north, in the northeast portion of the state area, seeing 40-mile-per-hour plus gusts. How about a 45-mile-per-hour gust in Show Low? In our neck of the woods, look at some of these wind gusts, some purple there, 32-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the biggest winner for wind gusts around the region, almost 40-mile-per-hour wind gust in Douglas. It was such a windy day. This is what we currently have. Still some gusty winds. Winds will continue to diminish throughout the remainder of the night, starting your day with not so gusty winds. It'll ramp up once again, but that wind that you saw today, and you see that red, more pushed off to the east now, so more for southeastern and eastern portions of our viewing area and into New Mexico. We'll be seeing those gusty winds. Or a place like Tucson along I-19, I-10, and areas west won't be seeing really much at all of those winds. A lot of times with winds, that indicates a weather pattern is moving through, and we do have that in the name of this little low pressure system to our north, producing some nice little snowfall and rain in areas to our north. Flagstaff and Snowball seeing the first real decent snowfall, so that'll get the snow lovers going. Yeah, check that out. Just a nice little stream of moisture that just keeps building on itself, moving from the southwest to the northeast. Yeah, Flagstaff getting, maybe up to several inches. Could it be up to 6 inches of nice, fresh pow-pow, as I like to say in the ski community. Okay, sorry, I won't ever say pow-pow again. But back to our neck of the woods. This is what we're dealing with right now, just some of those cloudy conditions, and we'll see some of those showers start to move into our neck of the woods. around the late night, early morning hours tomorrow. Then kind of forming into this line. A lot of models are having it pushed at this main line. So pretty skinny, little thin layer of that rain. So it'll be pretty localized, running roughly southeast to northwest, pushing off to the east through the mid-morning hours and looking to clear out for the most part by the time the afternoon rolls around. That becoming an issue for the plains with some good-looking snowfall possible, possibly snarling a little bit traffic tomorrow for many throughout your Saturday and through Sunday as it looks to push off to the east, possibly impacting the northeast as well Sunday and Monday. But then back to our neck of the woods. Euro future rainfall is calling for, well, not much, but listen, Ashley, we'll take it. It's been dry, right? So on the order of maybe 0.05 of an inch. Some areas, some local spots here, if you're lucky, maybe 1/10 of an inch, maybe up to 1/4 of an inch if you're very, very lucky to our north and east, but overall not looking to be a huge rainmaker. And overall, here are your odds of seeing that rain in the region. 40% in Tucson. The highest chance, you move to your north and east, up to 50% in Safford. And then a lower chance the farther west you move, 20% in Ajo. And the farther south and southeast you move, down to a 10% chance, Sierra Vista, Bisbee, and Douglas. After the system moves through, we're going to have some very cool air. In fact, for many, the coolest air of the season. It would be 63 degrees in Tucson tomorrow. Might not even get to the mid-60s. That would be our coolest temperature since April 4th. And Wilcox, their coolest temp since April 5th. Might not even crack 60. Ajo out to the west, their coolest temp since late March. And then Phoenix as well, their coolest temp since early April, where it may not even get to the 70-degree marker. Overall, here's what the rest of your weekend looks like. Your post-Thanksgiving weekend, many will be traveling. A little bit of that rain early tomorrow. Temps only peaking at 63. A bit of a warm-up for your Sunday with those cool lows in the lower 40s, possibly getting close to 70 degrees with some partly cloudy skies and dry overall, though. Here is your 7-day forecast. Yeah, look at the end of that 7-day, Ashley. Maybe later next week, another maybe chance of some of that rain. We're going to be monitoring because anytime we see rain, personally, I get excited. I know you guys too, so I'll be keeping an eye on that after this more recent system moves through. We'll kind of focus more attention on this next possible rain chance later next week.
All righty, we will certainly keep an eye on it as always. Corey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty, well, we are working to get more information on a Thanksgiving night shooting in Tucson. You're looking at video of that scene near 22nd Street and Tucson Boulevard in Midtown. Police say they have someone in custody for this. We're learning the victim is in the hospital. No word on how badly they've been hurt. We will, of course, bring you updates as soon as we learn more. Now to news out of the Middle East. The truce is holding, and there is quiet in Gaza for the first time in 7 weeks. Hamas has released 24 hostages who had been held captive in Gaza for weeks, and Israel freed 39 Palestinians from prison in the first stage of a swap under a 4-day ceasefire deal. The hostages freed today included 13 Israelis, 10 people from Thailand, and 1 from the Philippines, according to Qatar. Israel will receive 50 hostages over the 4-day temporary truce while releasing 150 Palestinian women and children from prison. None of the 10 Americans still believed to be held hostage in Gaza were part of today's release. The ceasefire will also allow for increased shipments of fuel and supply into Gaza. And speaking of this, President Biden, he praised the release of the 24 hostages and said that today he is hopeful about a truce between Israel and Hamas being extended. He also expressed hope that U.S. citizens taken hostage would also be freed very soon.
Today has been a product of a lot of hard work and weeks of personal engagement. From the moment Hamas kidnapped these people, I, along with my team, have worked around the clock to secure their release. We saw the first results of this effort with the release of 2 American hostages in late October, followed by the release of 2 Israeli hostages. I've consistently pressed for a pause in the fighting for 2 reasons: to accelerate and expand humanitarian assistance going into Gaza, and 2, to facilitate the release of hostages. And over the past several weeks, I've spoken repeatedly with the Emir of Qatar, the President Sisi of Egypt, and Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, to help secure this deal, to nail it down.
Alrighty, President Biden, they were talking about the release of those hostages today. Well, the CDC now says a salmonella outbreak that started with cantaloupes shipped from southern Arizona is linked to 2 deaths and nearly 100 illnesses across the country. Nogales-based Sophia Produce recalled its Malichita brand whole cantaloupes about 2 weeks ago. Since then, 3 other companies have recalled whole and pre-cut cantaloupe products that used melons from that Nogales company. The CDC says 99 people have gotten sick in 32 states. There have been 2 deaths and 45 people have had to be hospitalized. Arizona has had 7 cases. We'll take a look at this. It was truly a wild sight on a valley freeway. ADOT cameras captured a bull roaming around I-17 near the Joe Max Road just after 1 a.m. today. The runaway bull found a gap in a cattle enclosure off a stretch of I-17 and quickly made its escape. Luckily, after a brief wild bull chase, the animal was wrangled and returned to its cattle enclosure. Troopers were also able to fix the gap in that fence, ensuring that there weren't any more strays looking to head out onto the roadway. The bull was not injured, nor were any drivers or troopers. Well, we want to go back to a story that we brought to you at the start of this broadcast here, for those of you who are just now tuning in. We did receive some late-breaking news this evening. The Associated Press is reporting that ex-police officer Derek Chauvin, convicted of killing George Floyd, was stabbed at the federal prison on Wilmot Road in Tucson this afternoon. You'll remember Derek Chauvin was the former Minneapolis police officer convicted again of killing George Floyd. The Bureau of Prisons, when we reached out to them, declined to identify the name of that inmate when we got word of this assault at the prison, but they did say that an inmate received life-saving measures from responding employees and EMS. They did also say that that inmate was taken to a local hospital for treatment and evaluation. No prison employees were injured, and the FBI has been notified. Of course, stay with 13 News for updates. We will have much more on this developing story coming up tonight on the News at 10.